Discover the 7 techniques that plant experts use to keep their houseplants healthy and happy, and find out why your plants may be struggling without them. And stay tuned till the end, because I've got a bonus tip on a great way you can refresh your plant soil without having to repot it. This first tip may sound a little counterintuitive, but trust me, it's one of the most important things you can do for your houseplants. What's the one thing that all living creatures on this green planet have in common? We all need a period of rest, and this is no different for our plants. It's vitally important that we give our indoor plants a period of darkness for at least 8 hours a day. And this means not having our grow lights on for 24/7. Plants require a period of darkness, or what's known as the dark cycle, in order to properly grow and develop. During this period of darkness, plants undergo important physiological processes that are necessary for their overall health and growth. One of those processes that happens during the dark cycle is photosynthesis, which is of course the process by which plants convert light energy into chemical energy to fuel their growth. While light is essential for photosynthesis to occur, plants also require a period of darkness to properly regulate this process. During the dark cycle, plants switch from photosynthesis to respiration, which is the process in which they break down glucose to produce energy. This process allows plants to maintain their energy levels during periods of low light, such as at night or during cloudy weather. Plants also need time to rest and recuperate, just like you and me need our 8 hours of beauty sleep every night. Giving them a period of darkness allows them to slow down their metabolic processes and conserve energy for growth during the light cycle. To become a true plant whisperer, you need to do one thing that amateur plant parents are often too scared to do, but that plant experts absolutely love to do: chopping up houseplants. Honestly, pruning is without doubt one of the best things you can do for your indoor plants. If you are not regularly chopping and shaping them, then you're simply missing a trick. First of all, pruning helps keep the plant healthy and looking nice. When you prune a houseplant, you remove any dead or dying leaves, stems or flowers that could be taking up energy that the plant needs to grow. This can also help prevent pests or disease from spreading to the rest of the plant. And if you were never to cut your hair, who knows what would end up living inside it, and it's the same with houseplants. But the real cheat code for pruning is that it also encourages new growth and helps keep the plant from becoming too leggy and outgrowing its container. By cutting back some of the leggy stems or branches, you can help the plant develop a more compact and attractive shape. You see, when you cut back a stem on most houseplants, 2 new stems normally grow back in its place. And this is how you can achieve a big bushy plant rather than a thin, straggly one. Last year, I hard pruned my Ficus elastica, something that would probably make lots of you sick to your stomach. But look at the plant now. It's got 3 brand new healthy stems where I made the cut, and the plant is really starting to bush out. Now, this was a little bit of a dramatic prune. You don't have to go that far, of course, but regularly pinching the tips of your Tradescantia or Pothos can result in a super healthy, bushy looking specimen. If you have a growing collection of plants in your home, it's nearly impossible to give them all the light they crave. Don't believe the sellers when they say a plant likes medium or low light. It's just not true, even ZZ plants. All plants love as much light as possible. The difference between the light they receive outdoors in a natural habitat versus our homes with 4 walls and a ceiling is just so big, no matter how large your window is. The difference between keeping a plant on your windowsill versus keeping it as little as 1 meter back is surprisingly large. And if you've got as many plants as I have, then you know just how hard it is to cram all of them onto your windowsill. The solution that experienced plant parents use is to spread their plants around their homes without piling them on top of each other, and using grow lights to ensure they get the light they want. I'm not blessed with great light in my home, 1 because I live in cloudy Sheffield, and 2 because the house faces west to the front and east to the back. This isn't a great recipe for giving my plants tons of light. I've therefore got a few grow lights dotted around, and I can tell my plants are relieved to have them. Sansi do a great collection to suit most needs. I've got a link to a 15% discount you can use in the description to this video. I like to treat my plants mean and keep them keen. Huh? What in the blue blazes does that mean, Richard? Well, it means I don't give them everything they want when they want, and they usually respond very well. If there's always biscuits in the tin, then where's the fun in biscuits? Give your plants what they want all the time, and they become lazy and start to become susceptible to pests and disease. I've no scientific study to back this up, it's just what I found in my years of experience of looking after so many plants. I'm primarily talking about water here. I always keep my plants on the dry side and only water them when they absolutely need it. And how do you achieve this without killing your plant? Get a moisture meter. I bang on about these all the time, but honestly they might just be one of the best things I've ever purchased in my life. It helps me avoid so much aggro with my plants because I'm not guessing how wet the soil is and I'm not trusting an unreliable finger. Stick this in the soil and boom, you know exactly how wet the soil is. Simple. So I water my plants when the meter reads 1 or 2 at the most, and this keeps any root disease issues firmly at the door and stops them from becoming overindulged. Check out my Amazon store, linked in the description, for the one I use. They often say that you are what you eat. Fill your body with junk food every day and you'll feel more tired and lethargic than if you stuck to a healthy Mediterranean diet with lots of fruit and vegetables. We should apply this exact same thinking to our plants. A good fertilizer will mean the difference between a plant that is doing pretty well to one that is absolutely thriving. And this is something I've really started to embrace in the last year. I used to use Miracle-Gro water-soluble fertilizer for my indoor jungle, but I've now switched to Houseplant Focus, which is a fantastic natural plant feed that is kinder to the roots than synthetic fertilizers like Miracle-Gro. And I've really started to notice the difference in my plants with stronger growth and richer colours in the foliage. Plant experts don't stop there though. There are plenty of byproducts we can use from our everyday lives to improve the health of our plants. Instead of discarding the water we use to cook our rice, pasta and vegetables, we can capture it and use it to water our plants. There'll be tons of beneficial nutrients including potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, B vitamins that leach into the water as you cook and will do wonders for your plants. Just make sure to not use the water if you've salted it during the cooking process. Plant experts aren't afraid to give their plants some morning or afternoon sun. You've probably been warned countless times to never put your plants in direct sun rays, but this advice is a little overblown. As long as we're not taking our plants that normally live under the stairs into a blazing hot south-facing window in the northern hemisphere, then we should be fine. The key is to acclimatise them to the light, and this means gradually moving them into the sun over a period of a few weeks. If you notice any scorching, then just pull them back a little and slow down the pace. I would avoid keeping them in the sun during the mid-afternoon unless they're sun-loving like jades and succulents, but giving them a few hours in the morning and late afternoon does wonders for them. Ficus plants in particular do fantastic on a west-facing window. The more light you give them, the faster they push out new growth. I keep a Teneki and a fiddle leaf fig on my west-facing living room window, and they're growing at a really good pace. It doesn't matter how experienced you are as a plant parent or how attentive you are to your collection, plant loss is just an inevitability that we all go through. Plants are living creatures after all. It's impossible to keep every single one of them alive for the rest of our lives. For whatever reason, a plant will just give up the ghost and depart this world. It could suffer a disease, get attacked by pests, or just run out of juice. Who knows? But the thing that sets beginner plant parents apart from the pros is that the pros will have backups to their plants in case of emergency, whereas us amateurs lose a plant and never see it again in our homes. It's a fantastic idea to dolly the sheep our plants and clone them in case the original passes away, especially when we purchase new ones. Do this lots of times and you soon have a massive collection in your home, a lot of which was free. All we do is cut a stem underneath a leaf node, remove the lower leaves leaving a couple at the top, pot the cuttings up into a glass of water and keep it somewhere bright. Roots should appear in a few weeks, and when they're a couple of inches long, pot them up into some soil and then wait for new stems to grow. If the original dies, then you've now got this backup to kill. Here's the bonus tip I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's one of my favourites because it saves me so much time and so much mess. Refreshing the soil of our plants on an annual basis can be a fantastic thing to do to boost their health and vitality. Over time, the beneficial microorganisms that were present in the soil when we're first potting up our plant diminishes, and refreshing the soil gives the roots a boost. It's not always necessary to completely repot the plant though. Instead, you can top dress with fresh compost. Remove the top couple of inches of soil and replace with good old compost. Top dressing the soil with compost slowly decomposes the organic matter and releases nutrients into the soil over time, providing your plant with a steady supply of nutrients. I talk about this in more detail in my 6 outdated plant care tips to ditch in 2023 video that you can check out by clicking on the link here.